Hi folks, and welcome to today's video, returning to the gym after a disc herniation, your spinal health toolkit. Now, I do produce a lot of good content for those folks out there suffering with low back disc herniations, sciatica nerve pain, disc bulges, etc. If that's you, then hit that subscribe button. You'll be notified when I upload some great content for you guys to get you back on the road to recovery, to get your life back. However, in the meantime, let's get into today's video. So folks, today I'm going to be covering some useful spinal health toolkit tips that you can use when going back to the gym after a disc herniation. Now there's going to be 8 tips coming up for you, okay? I'm going to be going over some exercises, general awareness, and also nutritional tips as well. So let's dive in with tip number 1. When you do go back to the gym, do not start off where you left, okay? If you hurt yourself in the gym, if you're an active exerciser and you did injure yourself either in the gym or outside the gym, you can't jump back into squatting, deadlifting like you used to. You've got to take your time to get there, build yourself up gradually. Why is this the case? Well, even though the back pain will disappear, the sciatica nerve pain may disappear, the disc itself can take a long time to finally scar over. It might take 18 months, 2 years. In some cases, it never actually scars over, but you have no more residual pain left. However, in those early stages, there is a higher risk of re-injury. This is especially true after microdiscectomies, okay? Where the scar is open, it's an open wound, and if you do something correctly, you can re-injure yourself. So you cannot jump back into what you were doing before, which leads me on to the further 6 tips, which are going to be exercise specific. So let's jump into tip number 2. Okay guys, tip number 2, we're going to focus on the deadlift. Now, many of you guys who are gym users or were gym users, I'm sure the deadlift was part of your arsenal. However, when you go back to the gym, you may have actually hurt yourself during the deadlift before. It's quite a high incidence rate of people hurting their backs on the deadlift exercise. You want to not jump back into it. Of course, like I said before, take yourself progressively up to that level. And you should, of course, be practicing hip hinging maneuver, okay, especially when you're bending objects off the ground. And a good way to engage those muscles, make them stronger, is by using a kettlebell. I have a nice pink one here, or you can use a dumbbell. And you can begin quite a lightweight, but you can start reinforcing that deadlift movement pattern, getting the glutes engaged, lower back engaged by using the kettlebell. Now you can do the conventional squat stroke deadlift movement pattern here, and I'll show you from the side. We can again engage the hip hinging Romanian deadlift style pattern, engaging that lower back, glutes, really focus on those glutes, taking a lot of the work, okay? It is the biggest muscle in the body, use it, all right? And after progressing from the kettlebell, you can perhaps move on to the trap bar. Now I like the trap bar myself, it's one I usually use. And the trap bar, this is bar here behind me. You can put weights on the side. It's typically got a high handle or a low handle. I would start with a high handle first, and you essentially grab hold of this bar and you are deadlifting, taking from the floor, standing up, from the floor, standing up. And it's a nice progression. You can start to put some weight onto this. Obviously kettlebells are limited sometimes to the weight they may have in your gym. With this you can actually load it, and it keeps the weight in the central line through here. There's less chance that you'll tip forward. One of the main issues with the deadlift is if you do have certain limb length discrepancies and the weight is out in front of you, you have a lot of pressure put in this region here. It's much harder to keep your back flat and straight. But with the trap bar, the weight is more centralized to the midline plane of movement here, and it's much easier to keep your back flat and straight. Now, after progressing from the trap bar deadlift, you may also go in for the original deadlift, or what I did when I returned was I actually went back into sumo deadlift. So I've got a barbell here. Now again, conventional deadlift, bars in front of me, quite a narrow stance. Up and down, I'll show you from the side. Conventional, here and up. Sumo style, you may have seen the sumo wrestlers, is where it gets its name. You have a very wide stance, hands are closer in, and here. Now this allows the bar to be closer to that midline plane of movement again. It allows your back to remain more upright and generally place less shearing force on the lower back region. I'll show you from the side. So for progression wise, I definitely recommend going for kettlebells over to trap bar. And if you want to get back to the classic bar, then I would recommend sumo deadlift. All right, guys, tip number 2, returning to deadlift. Tip number 3, let's get into squatting. So tip number 3, squatting. Do you want to jump right back into back barbell squatting? Of course you do, okay? But it is a high risk exercise when you have come back from a herniated disc. Why? Well, I'll just show you briefly here with the barbell. So, classic back squat. Okay, it's on our shoulders here. And we, of course, squat down. Now, the lower I go, the more chance I'm going to have of what's called butt wink, where my lower butt, my tail tucks under my pelvis. And that, of course, can exacerbate a disc herniation issue. If I've had a disc herniation posterior, when I go into this position, I'm essentially opening up the discs, opening up the vertebra, pushing that herniated disc back out. And it is one of the main reasons for gym lifters' herniated discs is low depth back squats with butt wink over time can lead to disc injuries. So how did I come back myself? Well, I started very simply with something called a split squat. So I'll just show you briefly into a split position, both feet face forwards, bend both knees, and I come up. There's no loading on my spine here. I'm using one leg at a time. I would switch legs after 10, 12 reps, just from the side here. So this is one of my mainstays when I was coming back from my own disc injury. What you can also do, and I like this one as well, is a one-legged squat variation. I'm not saying go straight into pistol squats. What you would get is get a box or a chair, round about the back of your knee height here. So put yourself on one leg, take the weight on that supporting leg, consciously hip hinge back onto the box, rest for a second, and push up. Small pause if you need to, if you don't want to fall over. Set again, come down, and push up. Really good exercise for the glutes, quads, stabilizing your knee and hip, and again, doesn't load the spine excessively. Now, there's no dynamic motion, really, with those two exercises. So what I then progressed to myself was I went into classic lunges. Now, I did them with the dumbbell. I didn't load the bar on my spine. I had the dumbbells here. And I started with body weight, of course, but I would step out, nice control, and push back. When you push back on a lunge, make sure you drive through the heel and lift the toe up as you push back off the ground. So here, push through my heel, push the toe up, back to the start. I would do my 10, 12 reps each side. Easy, simple, safe, little low body leg workout for your quads, glutes. Now, that may take 3-4 months to get to that stage where you really want to get back under that bar. Now myself, what I did, I actually went onto front squatting. So front squatting, as the name suggests, the bar is in the front of your body here, and it's held across the front part of your shoulders, and we squat down, and you can keep the back in a much more upright, straight position. So I did this for many, many years, and then today, I still use the front squat, but I added back squats in many, many years ago as well. But I did progress carefully with the body weight leg exercises, the split squats, front lunges, back lunges, the one-legged squat to a step, etc. Built up a lot of strength, gave me time, gave me months for that disc to heal correctly, heal better, less chance for injury, and then I progressed onto front squatting and then back squatting. Now, I know what you're saying, well, Colin, deadlift squats, that's all lower body. What about some upper body? I'm coming to that next with tip 4. So tip 4, upper body. We're going to look at chest and back here. Now, conventional bench press. I'm sure you've seen some people doing like a powerlifting bench press where you arch the lower back and you're pushing the weight up. I didn't want to exacerbate my lower back issue, so I wanted to work, obviously, my upper body, my chest area, in a safe and controlled manner. So one of the ones I started with, I was already doing push-ups, which are really good, of course. You get to stabilize your core, but I wanted to move on to the dumbbells. So what I started with was what's called a one-arm dumbbell press on an incline bench. Now this activates the core because the weight comes down. It's trying to pull me off the bench. So I get good core stimulation here, but I'm still working the chest, front of my shoulders, and my triceps. And you can progress this to lying on a ball as well. That was very, very effective for me. And then I progressed to 2 hands on the dumbbell press as well. I liked the incline because when I came up from the incline, it was a much sort of lower angle for me to come forward, put less stress on the back. If I'm coming from the flat, I'm having to throw my legs up and activate my abs harder, my hip flexors, which pulled on that lower back. And it's trying to, during this period, we're still recovering at a cellular level, to reduce the stress on that region. So I'm adapting exercises, still hitting the muscles I want to hit, but adapting the exercises to make them more low back area friendly. Now, another great one I used to use a lot was a landmine press. Now, landmine, it's typically a large metal plate with a tube in it where you put the barbell into it, and the barbell will stay like this in front of you, and you can press like so, you can row. But I was doing this sort of chest, upper shoulder press motion, and again, I'm having to resist my body collapsing. So I'm having to really engage my whole core, even my lower back here, brace everything, brace through my hips to push the weight up. And of course you change sides during repetition. So I did a lot of those before I would move on to actual bench press. Today, yes, I bench press, I incline bench press, but I do still do some of this work as well, especially to help along with my core and my bracing work. Now, chest is covered. What about back? Okay, so one of the classic exercises you will see in the gym for back, of course, is the bent over barbell row. Here, like so. Now, of course, this puts an enormous amount of stress on the lower back, so I dropped that exercise completely. There are many, many more things that you can do. I chose mainly to use machine, chest-supported row machines, lat pull-downs machines, but if you want, you can use what's called a incline bench here and what's called a chest supported row. So I would go on here, I could kneel on the bench here, have my dumbbells, and I could row like so. You can even move from there onto the one arm dumbbell row. Just flatten the bench. And we've got a dumbbell there. Got my 3 points of support. Take my dumbbell. My flat is staying nice and flat and straight and rigid. Row and stretch. All those exercises were nice, steady progressions. And I still do some barbell rowing occasionally. But personally, I feel that it places a lot of unnecessary stress on the lower back. So I would just avoid it for general health reasons. There's many, many things you can do which will avoid exacerbating or prolonging that recovery period. So start it with dumbbells, machines. That's the best way to go for the back region. What about the core, I hear you say? Okay, we've done tips 4 and 5, chest and back. Tip number 6, here's the core coming up. So tip 6, what about the core? Now, you should have progressed through such things as front planks, side planks, McGill curl-ups, but you won't be wanting to get back into crunches, old school, crunches. Well, I can honestly say, since my injury 15 years ago, I have probably done no more than 20 sets of old school crunches in that time. I tend to focus personally, and I give it to my clients, more on core bracing, rotational core stabilization work. Yes, I still use McGill crunches as well. I use a lot of side planks, and you can, of course, change these and make them harder. But old school crunches, I pretty much do not do anymore. So I still do a lot of actively encourage a lot of side planking work. So we're in this position here, but you can actually start to increase intensity by doing repetitions. You can place a small weight here to increase if you're holding this for time. There's many, many front plank variations. One of the most difficult ones that you can do is you're in that classic plank position, then you lift off left leg, right arm, hold that for 30 seconds, then you switch sides, hold it for 30 seconds. There's multiple ways to change a classic rehab exercise into more challenging, working hard in the gym exercise. As I said, I do prefer a lot of kind of rotational bracing work, and I'm a big fan of landmine rotational twists. So again, we're talking about the landmine here. So the barbell. Now you could stick this into a corner, into the top of a plate. It also works. But classic landmine twist, here like so. And it may be plate loaded, but to begin with just the bar. Comes down to my side, bracing those abs. I use the abs and back to rotate it back up. I can do one side at a time. I can do both sides, okay? Do my repetitions, take the break. But it really forces the abs to engage super, super hard and get that core working. Another great exercise you can also do, it may have been given to you in rehab, but I do actively encourage it, is, it's got different names, but dumbbell carry, suitcase carry. You can use a heavy dumbbell, you can use a heavy kettlebell for this, and you basically pick one up, so one side, and you walk around the gym. And what this forces the body to do, so you would walk, you pick your point, maybe walk 20 paces one way, change sides, and you walk 20 paces back the other way. You've got this contralateral contraction. If my weight is in my right side, all the muscles in the my left side of my spine, my abs, are holding my body to stop it going into side flexion. So you're doing it under an active movement pattern. So it's very, very good to actively engage those muscles. Also your grip as well, if you're struggling with your grip. So it's got a lot of carryover to sport, to activities, which a lot of the rotational work does as well. If you're a tennis player, any kind of racket sport, golf, etc., you need that rotational power, support, stability, which is where the likes of the rotational landmine comes in. It's really, really effective and useful. So core work under number 6. Let's move on to point number 7. Okay, so spinal hygiene tip, returning to the gym, number 7, decompression. Now I do talk a lot of this about it in my course on other YouTube videos. Decompression. After you've had a hard workout, you essentially will be compressing your spine. If you've had a previous injury and you want to increase the longevity of your spinal health, help that disc remain healthy as it can be after being injured into the future, it is good to practice some form of decompression. Helps nutrients get into the disc, gets the water osmotic effect between the cell membranes, takes inflammatory material away. It will basically help the health of that disc. So how do you decompress? Okay, there's a couple of different ways. I'll show you some passive decompression moves here. So I still do this to this day, especially after leg workout. You can simply, or you can do this at home, like this. I lie on the back, I place my legs up on a surface here. Could be a small pillow, could be side of the couch. I can even do it on the wall here. Keep my legs closed like this, okay? And just relax out into this position. I'm gonna stay here for at least 2 minutes. You can go up to 10 minutes and just relax in this position. What this allows to happen, if I just lie straight on the floor, like so, my hip flexor muscles are actually pulling on my lower back. When I lift my legs up and relax them, it takes all the stress off the upper leg. It allows my lower back to relax properly. And that is a style system of passive decompression. There's a really good decompressive stretch. It's called an El Doa stretch, which I've got a video on. It's going to pop up at the end of this one. So stay to the end and you can go and see a really specific, it takes too long in this video to show you, a very detailed active decompress stretch which will help to decompress that whole lower back region. So number 7 is practice decompression after you finish the workouts. And that will hold you in good stead for the future of your lower back spinal hygiene and health. All right, we'll finish up with number 8. Now, number 8, very, very important, is nutrition. Now, that encompasses many, many things, but Water is an especially large one. The disc tissue itself is mainly water, as much your body is, and keeping well hydrated will help the tissues move more easily, helps the discs keep better hydrated. Nutrition itself, when it comes to food, you want to avoid as many inflammatory foods as possible. So processed foods, etc., will create, of course, inflammation, which can, of course, increase your healing time and take a basic harder toll on your body as you progress in time through your life, through your active life. So you want to make sure you're drinking plenty of water, you're avoiding inflammatory foods, and if you are a smoker, stop, okay? The research has shown in the literature that smokers tend to suffer more from dehydrated disc. It does affect the disc tissue. The tissue itself can become more brittle. There's more chance of herniated discs. So if you are a smoker, you're eating bad food, you're not drinking enough water, stop all those things and reverse it, all right? So guys, listen, those are my eight of my main spinal hygiene tips if you are returning back to the gym, okay? 1, don't jump in where you left off before. Take your time, make it a progressive overload structure, okay? 2, when it comes to deadlifts, work up carefully, starting with kettlebells, trap bar before you move on to the big classic deadlift movements. 3, squatting. Start with body weight, single leg exercises before moving on to the classic front squat, back squat, okay? 4, upper body chest movements. I do encourage one-arm dumbbell presses on an incline. Don't jump straight back into flat barbell benching, all right? 5, when it comes to back exercises, I would avoid bent over barbell row, focus more on the machines, focus on a chest supported dumbbell row. That's gonna save your back a lot more, okay? 6, for the core, avoid excessive flexion, extension crunches, focus more on bracing, rotational bracing. And yes, you can do the McGill crunches, of course, but try to limit that more, try to make it more real life sport type of rotational brace core movements, yeah? And number 8, as we just said, nutrition, diet, okay, lifestyle, avoid smoking, inflammatory foods, and of course drink plenty water. All right, okay guys, listen, that video is going to pop up in just a second on the active decompression stretch. Don't forget to check it out. If you've enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And if you are out there struggling with your exercise plan, getting back to the gym, low back issues, or whatever, hit me up with an email, okay, or comment down below. I do respond to all the comments, as you will see. I do respond to all the emails that I receive. I'm trying to help as many people out there as possible with their lower back problems. All right, guys, have a great week, and I'll see you next time.